Joining us, and welcome to the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the Hangout, militants bomb pipeline 24 hours after Oshibajo's visit. Federal government insists it is seriously negotiating for the release of the remaining Chibok schoolgirls. And later on the Hangout, Senate fails to stop the closure of Abuja Airport as engineers. Ministers disagree. Yomi Olomofe, Adekunle Yusuf and Wahid Bakari are on set to hang out with us. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Barely 24 hours after Vice President Yemi Oshibajo led the federal government delegation to the Niger Delta region, an unidentified militant group has allegedly blown up a crude oil trunk line operated by the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, NPDC, at Ughelli, that's Delta State. While militants are being fingered in the attack, a security source claimed that the inferno was from the pipeline was caused by bush burning. Though sources in the state confirmed the attack, none can actually confirm the cause of such incidents. When would there be an end to this? I saw the town hall meeting that was held by the vice president, and I saw sincerity, I saw a unity of purpose and a kind of resolve on the part of the key leaders of the Niger Delta, especially in Delta State, that particular day, to, rewrite the scripts and the narrative in the Niger Delta region. But with this incident, I begin to have a doubt maybe the house is actually won. You hear me?
Well, Ayo, most naturally the house can be won. To the extent that when people get whipped up, when emotions get whipped up, it takes beyond an initial delegation of government representatives to douse the tensions. And you will agree with me that, yes, this visit, as led by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, is coming at a time that I think is good and right. But the groundswell of grievances, the groundswell of discontent, the groundswell of the palpable inequities in our land have gone to such an extent, up until this visit, that I, for one, perhaps I won't say I'm too surprised at the vandalization that happened 24 hours, barely 24 hours after the visit of the federal government delegation. The president himself had, before now, promised that he was going to visit the Niger Delta. He didn't. Who knows? Perhaps these folks feel that yet again, this is another merry-go-round, another,
whether the president visits or the vice president visits, the presidency is one, and I believe whatever the vice president might have conveyed to these people is actually from. I am saying,
the federal in my views, that visit perhaps ought to also bring to the table specifics in terms of immediate plans that will commence, upon which implementations will commence, that will cut across. These are the kind of things that will douse tension and that will revive hope in the people who feel.
With the staying of that university, the University of Maritime University, and the VP has doused the tension over the controversy on that university, saying that, look, it has come to say that there's no controversy about the location or, scrapping.
Too many things have gone
bad over time. Okay.
And for this, you can't expect that automatically, spontaneously, everything that have gone bad will be on both sides, really and truly.
Wahid, when you look at, before now, I'm sure this dialogue is an ongoing thing. The federal government didn't just wake up yesterday to say they want to go. And if you see, before now, the activities of the militants have reduced considerably because they've been taking on the leaders and they've been talking to the key stakeholders in the Niger Delta region. How can we bring a total halt to blowing up of key installation that you know that it's like the economic jugular of the country?
Ayo, from what I read, I think 2 reasons had been advanced as to what led to the vandalism, you know, that we had 24 hours after the vice president, you know, left the shores of Niger Delta. According to the military, they said it has to do with bush burning. But there is another angle to it, that it has to do with the alleged ill-treatment of some monarchs,
traditional rulers,
during the visit by the federal government delegation. Now, we are talking of people who have this, there is this mutual suspicion among them, and it has been there for so many years. The Robos don't really like the Shekiri don't really like the Jaws. You know, there is this mutual suspicion among them. Okay. Now, if you look at the itinerary of the vice president,
okay, in Delta State,
you know, if you look at the itinerary of the vice president, he was to visit the Owe of Ugeli Kingdom. That is the monarch of Ugeli Kingdom.
Okay.
But some of the
Robo people.
So the Robo felt aggrieved.
Did he go to Olu of Warri?
Of course, he was at the Olu of Warri's palace. Okay. Then, you know, the Osubi airport, where he landed, is under Okpe Kingdom. That Okpe Kingdom, the palace of the Okpe, is just about 25 minutes drive from the airport to the palace. So those people felt aggrieved that why is it that the same vice president that visited the Olu of Warri did not deem it fit to visit our own monarch, you know. And if you look at where that's why I want to believe that it has nothing to do with bush burning. It's like they are just trying to hide behind one finger by telling you that it's about bush burning. If you look at the place where it took place within the Ugeli Kingdom. It's like they are now trying to send a message across to the federal government that, look, if it's about militancy, we are also there. Because if you look at the series of vandalism that we have had in the past, you hardly see such thing in Ugeli area. It's either just speaking, in most cases, it's usually in just speaking areas, you know. So they felt aggrieved that it's like the vice president did not really, you know, recognize or well, I wouldn't blame the vice president for that. I think it has to do with the way they plan his itinerary, you know, and I think that's the reason now.
It's as if Nigeria is a very complex country to govern. Because if we are even talking about Niger Delta, where I thought we were talking about everybody. Now, even within Delta states, you're still talking about the Shekiri and the Robos. So the vice president must play to their balancing acts. The vice president went to Delta states, met with a traditional ruler or met with the stakeholders, and it doesn't have to, I don't know, it doesn't have to balance to go, okay, let's go to, it's not the problem of the vice president that, do you think this is enough reason for wanting to bomb?
No, it's not the problem of the vice president. Even if President Muhammadu Buhari had visited, you know, Delta and spent 1 full month, it's impossible for him to please everybody. You know, when a president, you know, comes on visit like that, there's a lot that comes with it. You don't just come and sit down and shake hands, and so there's a lot that comes with it. So everybody will want, you know, something that can, you know what I'm trying to say.
I thought that was the past practice.
Oh no, it's government. Government is government. You can't just visit such restive, you know, communities just like that. It's not possible. You don't have to see that in the news. Let's be very honest. If President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Oshibajo, both of them, if they are relocated to Niger Delta and spend 1 full month,
like my friend was saying yesterday,
the problems will still be there. You can't please everybody. You know, the problems of Niger Delta, they are known to everybody. The arrangement by this government is just cosmetic. The same old methods that have always failed Nigeria are the same methods that have been deployed. It can never work. You know, vandalism will continue.
What are those methods that you feel will be, effective?
Okay. You see any society that operates under a constitutional architecture that does not inspire equity, feeling of fairness among all the constituents, there can never be peace in that kind of society. The constitution will run. You have Niger Delta Ministry, you have NDDC, you have amnesty program, you have derivation formula. Put all these things together. Nigeria as a government, Nigeria as a country is just being clever by half. The best solution to the problems of the Niger Delta is for us to revert to the old formula. Nigeria used to operate a formula that worked. And what is that formula? At the time, you will see derivation is 50%. Anything that is found within your backyard, you take 50%. I won't bother to do NDDC for you. I won't bother to set up any ministry. I will not bother with any amnesty. So you give, you now give 30%. You now give 30% to be shared by all the federation units. Then 20% will now go to the federal government. But today, the federal government will take the bulk, the lion's share of the money, and will be giving out handouts, pittance to people, to the various federation units. And when they tell you it's 50, is it 54? They always tell us
52.
52. When you calculate it, it's more than 52. The same federal government controls VAT, controls the ecological fund, controls so many other things. When you add it together, you see there is too much at the hands of the federal government. You don't, take a lot from communities.
Now you are talking about restructuring.
Unless that is done, we are just running within a circuit. It can never work.
We'll come back to this.
Okay.
Let me quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout on Television Continental. Come back. It's still Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. And we're still looking at the unrest in the Niger Delta region. Adekunle Yusuf, you were talking about this equity, and you were talking about 50%, and what you were driving at was actually restructuring Nigeria, because right now we have a federal government that goes on with the lion's share. We have a kind of unitary system of government, a quasi unitary system of government, pretending to be a federal system of government.
Exactly. You know why I'm stressing this? This is a government that came on board on the change mantra.
They did not promise they were going to restructure.
But they said there will be.
APC said so. Muhammadu Buhari did not say so.
Let me explain. They said there will be a change. And when you are coming to change the environment, it means the old order will phase out and a new order will take. This approach by this administration was the same approach by President Olusegun Obasanjo.
This will require a constitutional amendment.
The same approach by the late Yaradua, the same approach by Jonathan, and the same approach now. What has always failed, we always fail.
That is not working.
See, when the foundation is faulty, whatever you build on it, we always collapse. The best solution, they know it. It's only that they always lack the political will to do the right thing. These agitations, you can do it once and for all. Take the burden of expectation from whoever that is in power, the federal government, and put it in the hands of the communities. Whether those communities are in the Niger Delta, whether they are in the northern parts of the country, whether they are in the southwest or southeast. Anything you find anywhere, believe me, this culture of free riding should stop. Everybody should be able to fend for himself or herself. We can do it. We have done it before.
It's very good to argue like this outside when you are outside government. What Adekunle Yusuf is asking is a major restructuring. And what he's asking for is we even require amending our constitution. It's a constitutional issue. If you are saying 50% of what we get from the Niger Delta should go to the host community, that would have defeated the status quo of 13%. 50%. And the constitution of the National Assembly, the composition of the National Assembly, the way it is for political exigency, I don't think the northern lawmakers
You see,
will sit
No,
down and allow this.
don't blame. When 50% of anything you find anywhere in Nigeria.
Ayo.
In a
Yeah,
situation
so you
whereby
can
the
also
cash
open up
cow
your-
is oil.
Ayo.
Now we are yet to develop every other thing.
You can
And then
develop-
Can I say
Okay.
that? Can I say that? We say we don't need to get unduly worked up here
Okay.
over these issues. Though they call for serious, I mean, it's worrisome. I think until the federal government decides that it's either going to take us absolutely, totally unitary or practice proper fiscal federalism, for so long shall there be these pockets of issues everywhere. Now, what is feeding the status quo? What feeds the status quo is rent seeking, is undue, unfair, ungodly patronage, accruing largely to certain segments of the nationalities that comprise this country. And those who are beneficiaries of these undue accruals, they obviously do not want a change in the status quo. The proper thing to do, I am going to be in tandem with what Madekule Yusuf has said. The proper thing to do, if we're a federation or we're running a federal system of government, then we should run a proper federal system of government.
federalism.
Federal government have
Fiscal.
no business going to behave like the father of Niger Delta. They are of age. They have no business coming to maybe Southwest to behave like, to conduct themselves like, it's a bit insulting if you ask me. You are coming to tell me how you think I should, or what you think I should do with my God-given resources. I think it's unfair. And this has gone for far too long. And these are some of the things that these people possibly do not have the capacity to articulate. And because they do not have the capacity to articulate it, or do not have the platforms to articulate it, they resort to
violence. Okay, let me quickly take my first caller for today. Koka is calling us from Borno State. Many thanks for joining us, Koka.
It's Bukar.
Hooker. You're welcome.
Buka. Oh, Buka. Oh, Buka is a regular caller. Thank you. I'm sorry for that, Buka. Thank you for joining us again.
I'm not even close to my television, but I know that this is the right time of the journalist hangout.
Oh, Buka. So what do you want to contribute?
Yes, I'm not close to television. I don't know what you people are.
So you don't know what we're
about.
discussing, Buka. You want to contribute? Wow.
Because I'm one of your fans. That's why
I know you're a regular,
my
Buka.
time yes, my problem is what I want to complain is that our government of Borno State is too corrupt, and the soldiers are corrupt too. So I don't know whether you people have the what they did us in Kalabalge, the kill of our people with the NGOs that are helping us. Please let the government rush up and kill whoever person in corrupt section. If not, this insurgency will not end.
Thank you, Buka.
That's my problem.
Buka is taking us to the northeast. We'll not go there today. And he said it all. He's not seated with his television set to know we're discussing the Niger Delta today.
Yeah, so for me, Ayo, I really think time has come for us to leave our age. In a situation where federal government wants to take upon itself every major and minor role in the country.
But what?
Confusions like this
I'm looking for a short-time solution before we graduate to the medium and
we
the
must
long-term
discuss the terms of governance, the
Again?
terms of our coexistence.
Apart from what we've done in 2014?
Where is it implemented, Ayo? What has come of the 2014 discussions? How is it impacting our existence today? So these are serious issues that government must understand and reconcile itself with. We all know that it's difficult because obviously change, the matter on which they have ridden to governance, is a difficult thing to bring about, because there are people who will refuse to understand that there is need for change. There are those who will understand that there is need for change, who will be unwilling because of the personal pecuniary gains and benefits that accrue to them. So for me, I think time has come to discuss very seriously. There are too many things on the exclusive list of the federal government that should not be there. And these things are the basis for pockets of misunderstandings here and there, because obviously there is a palpable, inequitable distribution of our patrimony. And so many Nigerians do not even understand what their worth is. This shouldn't be. Every Nigerian, regardless of where you were born, should be in a position to know that this is the value of my existence.
Let me take Raymond. Raymond is calling us from Niger State. Many thanks for joining us, Raymond.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Raymond.
Yes, I'm your fan, though I'm not important with you. For what we are discussing now, two people have spoken that the major thing that will assuage the fears of the Niger Delta people would be a kind of restructuring. But immediately, it's like this your program is pro-government, because when people are trying to say the right thing, you moderate fast by trying to stop that. But we are
why I'm here, Raymond.
Because you always say the truth. Restructuring is the way out. These people, their soil, their life, everything, the kind of mosquito you found there. So it might be impossible because of the people there. But I think God will hear us when we say the right thing.
Thank you, Raymond.
My own contribution is restructuring.
Okay, Raymond is agreeing with Adekunle Yusuf and Yomi. You know, gentlemen, if somebody is accusing this program of being pro-government, that means you've not been watching. Of course. You've not been watching. I don't know. I don't know what to say. We are not anti-government. Anyway.
We're not fanning, we're not massaging government.
Almost,
you've not been watching.
Almost
but
every
definitely.
day we bash government, even more than any TV programs that I know. But that's the reality.
Wahid, you know, what I was trying to say, if you have President Buhari and Vice President Yomi Osinbajo right now, I don't know how realistic it is to be pushing for let us restructure, and that will be the first solution you embrace right now.
We are just postponing the evil day. You know, there is no doubt about it. If you want to practice true federalism, you have to practice it in the real sense of it, not this kangaroo federalism that we are practicing. You need to find out why is it that in the past we have had so many intervention agencies in the Niger Delta, yet things are not working the way they should. Why is it? Why is it that has always been the problem? It's simply because if you look at those who have been benefiting from the system are the elite, just few ones. By now, we should not be talking about the fact that we don't have potable water in Niger Delta.
Because if you're taking 13%, and when we're really selling that oil at 160, I mean 120, 130 per barrel, and you're collecting.
You'll be shocked that if you go to some community in Niger Delta, you will not find a single teacher.
I know.
You see only the I did my youth service there. There is this community at the back of Refinery Road. At the back of the refinery is the host community to the Warri Refinery. When we got to that school, it is the so-called senior that were teaching the junior ones. They said the only teacher that comes from Bini, and that teacher comes once in a week. In a community where we get what we use in developing the whole of the country. So there's no way they won't feel aggrieved. So the restructuring, I'm also for restructuring. But before we do that, we need to find out. We need to know. They should be able to give an account of what they have been able to use for the little that they got. Must they share it among the few ones? You can't continue that way. You know, those who are asking the question that why is it that the little you have been given, there's nothing to show for it.
Also
and you are asking for more, although they can ask for more, because that in the real sense of it, if you are practicing true federalism, you can't take so much money to the center. You know, and we have practiced it in the past. Why is it now that it is difficult? And it's because of the fact that we fail to realize the fact that true federalism is the way. That is why most of the states are in this mess that they are in today. Okay. Because they find it difficult to think outside the box. Okay. You know, what are the ways which we can use to generate revenue? In Dubai, what are they using to develop Dubai?
Yes, we'll talk about that when we come after this break. It's still journalist Anger. We'll go for this break now. We'll come back. Gentlemen, final solution on this unrest in the Niger Delta.
My final take on this is that I want President Muhammadu Buhari to recollect that the last time this country had a semblance of pragmatic, purposeful leadership was when, you know, the way we share our patrimony embraced fiscal federalism, when 50% will go to host communities, 30% will go to all the federation units, and 20% will go to the federal government. And that if you want to return to that era where we will see governance that will make Nigerians happy, I want this administration to do something about it. And the best person that can do it is when we have a northerner as president of Nigeria, because the greatest fears usually emanate from that section of the country.
Yemi?
I have said, and I stand by, that by it, that until we talk proper fiscal federalism, until we devolve the excessive powers that are consigned to the center presently, we will be going around in circles.
Yes, in the past, what government has been doing is that, they will negotiate with the big Niger Delta militants and leave the smaller ones. But I discovered that this government, has, in a way, tried to bring in on board all the militant groups. Once they know that there is a militant group here, they just do their own verification. Once they know that they are authentic, they bring them in. They should continue in that light, because in
not
the past,
to be feeding some fat cows.
Ones that are benefiting. So I think that's why some of the smaller ones are aggrieved now. As we speak, we don't know the group that were responsible for the vandalism that we had 24 hours after. So it's a good thing they just continue, because they don't have any choice other than to negotiate for peace in Niger Delta.
All right, moving on now. Last Monday, in an intensified effort to find the remaining missing Chibok girls, the Bring Back Our Girls BBOG group joined the federal government team on a day-night raid for the remaining girls in Sambisa forests. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, at a briefing after the trip, says the federal government is seriously working on negotiation on how to rescue the remaining Chibok girls still in custody of the Boko Haram militant group. He assured that negotiation for the release of the girls in captivity were ongoing, and it had been stalled as being speculated. Is there any truth in this? Beyond this, we see back and forth, getting these girls. We don't know what the federal government did to secure the release of the first 23, I mean the 23, 21. Whatever they did that time, and we expected that before we know it, that we'll get another 50, and this kind of dialogue and embarking on this trip, Sambisa Forest, apparently, I don't think the militants are still in charge of that forest, so they might have dispersed them, and there's a possibility that the girls are not within the border or the shoreline of the country. What should this negotiation be? Is it releasing the entire girls, and what price are we going to pay in return? Should we give them money?
When we add the release of 21 girls, you will see the way government celebrated it. And Nigerians were happy. But you will see a lot of groups, a lot of people who wanted to take credit. I designed this, I did that. I told people that I doubt if we will ever, secure the release of the remaining girls. Because things that should have been kept, people should have been quiet about, things that they started talking because political gains. People wanted to take glory. You see, since that time, what has happened? To the extent that some people were even banding numbers. I think some were saying the next batch will be 97. I remember very well. You will see some, Nigerians, some of the big names, the remaining in the next few weeks. Those next few weeks are now months and nothing seems to have happened. You see, unless this government is able to secure the release of the remaining girls, whatever achievement it has recorded in the fight against Boko Haram will still be defined by the destiny and fate of those girls.
As even said by the president.
Because we have lost a lot in terms of human and material resources to this war, and the only way to bring a permanent closure to this will be to secure the release of those girls, because the families of those girls will never be happy unless we are able to get them back. They can never be happy throughout their life.
Some people will even say some Boko Haram in government custody, Boko Haram members in government custody, that it's possible to swap them for the release of these girls.
It's a school of thought. Well, as with some of the positions being advanced by several interest groups, what is most paramount, what should occupy the pride of place in our thoughts, is the release, and quick release. At this point, if quick is still, you know, it's still meaningful.
It's already overdue.
It's the release of these girls. It is important, it is paramount that all governments, and you see, this is where I want to quickly take a small exception. We mustn't leave it entirely, absolutely, to the federal government here. Chibok is in a local government. That local government is in a state. That state is a part of. So it should be a concerted thing. Yes, the governor of the state have been, yes, it's been quite visible, voluble, outspoken, and all of that. But we should also carry them along in the extrapolations. The local government, the people at the grassroots have quite a lot of role to play in these things, because it's not happening in isolation. It's not happening in the sky. It's not happening in the space. It is happening on ground, a particular locality. Yes, arguments have been advanced that Sambisa is a massive place, 6,000 kilometers radius and all that, and all that. But to me, I think everybody across the strata of government, local, state, and federal, should, you know, prioritize and make it a paramount assignment to retrieve these girls. And when they are retrieved, we must therefore also discuss the issues that led to where we are now. Otherwise, we only have succeeded in retrieving them and paving the way for subsequent horrendous seizures of people. Once the factors that have aggravated the Boko Haram issue are not addressed, and these factors have been harped on repeatedly: inequities, lack of development, people not able to hold their leaders accountable for resources entrusted to them. And you know, for as long as we're not, all of this is like this because there is a nearly invincible chain in governance. You hold your ward councillor, who is your immediate contact to government. He says he doesn't know anything, he's his chairman. You hold the chairman, he says, it's state. You go to state, he says, allocation federal. And then when you get to federal, you are totally lost. So I think the kind of inverted system of governance we are running in the name of federalism is accountable for some 90% of the woes that is befalling our nation. And to address it, we need to review, revisit, and reorder our form of governance. I must also say at this point that the Sambisa thing, the capture of Camp Zero, in my own view, is over-celebrated. In the sense that that capture is coming at a time when there is nothing to show for it. Everybody had escaped. We just got to a barren place. No arms, no armament, no ammunition was seized. No principal actor of the Boko Haram terrorist group is apprehended. We just saw a virgin place. Yes, kudos to the military who have gone there. At least before now, people felt that is a no-go area. But they have said, okay, it's an area we will go and conquer. They have conquered it. But beyond conquering it, they must extend. Where are the girls, for instance? Where have Boko Haram shifted to? Of the 6,000 square kilometer radius of the estimated Sambisa expanse, what plans are in place to continually, you know, get more ground, gain more ground, capture more ground. These are the issues that I think bear serious consideration.
Okay, we'll go for this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout on Television Continental here in Lagos. Welcome back. Gentlemen, reaching home stretch on this, the Chibok girls, the BBOG, like a principal player in the search for the Chibok girls, or advocacy for the search of these girls. They've gone on that Sambisa tour, and we're back now. What next?
Well, we should be asking, that's the question that should be on the lips of every Nigerian.
Okay, let me quickly take this caller from Kaduna. Thank you for joining us. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. I'm trying to keep up the level of the teams, and the federal government is not realistic in their negotiation. Because when you look at the federal government, they are not sincere, and most of the time they didn't trust them again.
I can hardly hear what Akin is saying. I can hardly hear.
It's like you are too close to...
I can hardly hear what he's saying. All right.
No, like I said, that should be the question that should interest every Nigerian, you know, because of the fact that the president did assure us that he won't claim victory until all the girls are found. Good, we have seen 21 of them. We are left with how many now? Over 100, you know. So where are they? The government should be able to tell us whatever they did to secure the release of the 21. That same thing should be replicated to ensure that you find the rest. You know, there are somewhere. You can't say because you have found 21. And I'm beginning to have that fear that if care is not taken at the end of the day, we may not find any of the girls again. Because government will tell you that, okay, we have been to Sambisa. You are the advocacy of bring back our girls. We took you there. We took some journalists there. We didn't find them. Are we now going to fold our hands and say, oh, we can't find it? I was shocked. I was at a forum in Abuja. GD2 was there. When one of the ministers, you know, accused journalists of being the reason why they could not secure the release of the other girls. And most of the journalists that were there, we were shocked. And the reason they gave was that, you know, they claimed that they had an agreement with the Boko Haram that when the girls are released, it has to be, you know, a silent thing. You don't have to broadcast it, and that they were shocked that the media went to town.
So we should not do our job.
And because of that, it affected the release.
That's not newsworthy.
That is affected the release.
23 of the Chibok girls released, and everybody will just...
It is the same government
that was talking
about it. And when you are talking about it, media we hardly create events. We report whatever happened.
Okay, I have Chris from Lagos.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chris.
Yeah, please, my contribution to that Niger Delta unrest.
All right.
You see, my grandfather used to say, you don't close your mouth to eat hot food. You see, when you are eating hot food, you close your mouth. You don't, so it will burn you. You see, 1958 was when Nigeria explored oil in that land. The first amount they realized was 200 million, and it was shared equally, 50-50. Now, what changed this situation that you are having problems everywhere is because of greed. The federal government, they are greedy. Because when you look at the whole system, if this thing happened in the north, it will never happen. It will never take place like this. This thing cannot continue like this, except you want the whole country to break.
Thank you, Chris.
The two people there have already said it. You will need restructuring in this country.
All right, thank you, Chris. Moving on now. The Nigerian Senate has failed to stop the planned closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja for repair work on its runway. According to the plans of the aviation authorities, flights will be diverted to the Kaduna Airport, and passengers from to Abuja will be required to travel by rail or road for the period of the closure. At Tuesday plenary, senators argued against the plan of making reference to the inconveniences and security concerns over Kaduna-Abuja Road. The Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Serika, explained that it is not safe for a passenger to land or take off in a construction site that has debris and construction equipment. I think, let me just play that package for you to understand what we're talking about.
It's a continuation of the Senate hearing on plans to relocate from Abuja to Kaduna Airport to pave way for total renovation of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. Senators quizzed ministers, contractors and other interested bodies on alternatives to closing the airport for 6 weeks and ways to ameliorate the suffering of passengers if the decision is taken to temporarily shut it down.
Actually, the whole runway from one end to the other end is damaged. That means if the method of spot repair is used, you start on one side of the runway, working in the night, and in the morning you allow, you open it up for traffic. It would mean that this spot repair will take 2 to 2.5 years.
2, that the taxiway should be upgraded to serve as a runway for aircraft of B737 and below.
We've deployed 500 tactical operation team of the Nigerian police and other security agencies on Kaduna Road on a permanent basis. We've also deployed 500 Hilux patrol vehicles.
Minister Hadi Serika says 5.8 billion naira will be spent on renovation, with additional 1.134 billion naira being cost of providing security, relocating airport staff, and providing free transportation for passengers to Kaduna.
Nigeria Police Force, 358,517,700. Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, 325 million even, 00 kobo.
The Senate prefers segmented repairs on the runway of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport to avoid total closure of the airport. However, the Minister of Transportation could take decision based on technical advice provided by various stakeholders.
With the Senate's open-ended resolution on Tuesday, the government is now at liberty to seek for more expert analysis. Somna Sambo, TVC News.
The Senate failed to stop the closure of Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport there. And we're just talking about them being interested party in all this because they have to go to their constituency every other week. Most of them don't stay in Abuja. Adekunle?
I don't think some of our senators realize that they are leaders in their own right. They love to carry that title, distinguished senators.
No, they are distinguished senators.
Believe me, by their character, by their attitude, what they do most times, there's nothing distinguishing any one of them. Because everything, most times, what they do is about self, it's about themselves, but not about the country. You are asked to exercise patience for 2 weeks, 1 month.
6 weeks. 6 weeks.
No, I'm just talking hypothetically. Let's renovate this and make it better. Is it not for the good of all? And why is it that every little thing on the part of the executive, there's always something like a gang up, hey, you must come, you come, you come. They should allow the executive to work. There's a work to be done by the Senate. They should do it. The executive and the legislature are not the same thing. They don't seem to understand there's a difference. If you don't understand anything, ask them, they will explain to you. But why do you always want to exercise executive power? No, you can summon them. It's really their power.
It's part of.
But they always want to. No, when you summon them, you don't say you want to cancel it. No, you don't. You are not the executive. When
can only advise.
Of course, when the executive brings out policies, it must have passed through a lot of deliberation. If you are not too sure, you can ask for explanation. But to always want to halt, do the role. of the executive, the way the Senate is doing under Saraki is baffling me, believe me.
Yes, Ayo, I won't take too far a departure stance from what Adekunle Yusuf
So you're always following Adekunle?
I'm not following him, but you see, he seems to be saying it the way I'm also looking at it.
Okay.
Look, these hallowed chambers, both the red and the green chambers, they have constitutional duties. How much of their constitutional duties have they done that they are now, bringing oversights all the time over the executive? Are they saying the airport should not be repaired? Are they saying that to repair it, it must not be shut down? You see, because so many things baffle me also. When they make so much hula baloo over ordinarily routine and administrative things, they repair airports.
They've raised serious concerns,
what
security
concerns
concerns in that particular road, Abuja, Kaduna road.
The challenges confronting us didn't start now. This airport even did not start going bad now. Some people have looked at it over time. They have allowed it to deteriorate to this point. Now it has become imperative that it is repaired. So why should people, and then again, I ask questions. Abuja, I have gone to Abuja repeatedly, severally. It's a city that confounds me because it is a city that thrives only on the civil service. I do not see any serious economic activity in the federal capital city that isn't channeled or geared towards servicing the civil service business. So, how many people have cause to go to Abuja really and truly? And then 6 weeks? What is 6 weeks in 52 weeks? That there's so much hula baloo over they should close, they shouldn't close, minister should come, the DG should come, Julius Berger should come, AB should come.
The inconveniences.
To who?
To the people that apply that route.
Who are the people that apply? How many Nigerians fly? As I speak to you today, what is the fair economy rate return to Abuja by any of our commercial?
Wahid, your contribution on this?
Yes, I think the two speakers, agree that it is within their purview to find out what is wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And at the end of the day, let us also concede to the fact that they said the aviation authority should go ahead and do the right thing based on technical advice. In a way, that's just to show that at the end of the day, they bow to superior argument. The only thing I found baffling was that one of them did say that, when John F. Kennedy International Airport was shut down, the airport was still running, that it was not a total closure. But the same senator failed to tell us that same airport he made reference to had 4 runways. And they don't use most of the time. So when they shut down one, there were 3 others that they can easily fall back on. We are in our own case, our own airport. The number 1 airport in the country has just 1 runway. That's not good. That's not good for a country. It's not good. They should do something about it. And there was a contract for it, but it was revoked by the Yar'Adua administration. Since then, nobody has thought of doing any other thing. And we are talking of things that can put human life at risk. So for how long are we going to continue to be doing that? So they should look for a way of, after the repair, they should talk of having another runway. It is not befitting that a nation like Nigeria has just 1 way. Perhaps the best airport in the country, the most popular airport in the country has 1 runway. How do you explain that to the international community?
All right, I'd like to thank you, Adekunle Yusuf. Yomi Olomofe, thank you, Wahid.
My pleasure.
And that's a wrap on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Ayodele Ozubakun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.